Well, I had planned to start the day by talking about myself, and I don't think it matters if they miss that. So, what? No, I was just going to tell you, I might, well, I'm doing a public workshop a week from Sunday, and invite people, because, tell people about it, because if you want. Because it's fun sometimes to let somebody else convince your friends and family that the Feldenkrais method is of interest. And I'd be more than happy to have at it, okay? Because I don't know exactly how I'm going to sell the method, but I told you, America's always open for business, and I'll find a way to sell the method. So, but it's in every training, they're so thrilled about what they're learning, and then they don't know how to bring it home, and they don't know how to tell their friends, and they don't know. And even, I had the pleasure of, last time I was in Perth, I did a public workshop, and one of Julie's Peck's best friends from the last 35 years, had a big role in government for many years. She got her to come lie on the floor with me. And it was fun, So I got to turn her on to the method. Julie didn't have her lying on the floor in all those years. So tell people about it if you want. I know you already know about it, but it's really a good chance for people to experience it in a context that's not your training, but just me doing a public workshop. And the great majority of people, I have a lot of experience teaching public workshops. There's also a little product over there, so I'm really talking about myself. But that was a one-day public workshop called the Flexible Chest. It's a body part. And there were 60 people in the room, and all different levels, new people, practitioners, and so that's also an example of ways that I get people into the water of the Feldenkrais method. So, okay, that's public service announcement number one. And then, are some of you coming anyway? Jenny said a few people are from the group are coming. Who's planning to come to that? Okay. And then the other public service announcement is you're in a training now, you know that. And you get 3 FIs a year, and it's also possible to have extra FIs usually with the assistants. I don't think I'll give any this time, so probably you wouldn't get one with me. But we have a big teaching team here this time. As I said, we have. I think Ruth's not here today, but she'll be back tomorrow. But we have Lisa and Ruth and Margaret and Jenny. And I don't know. There is always this question of money, because I know just to get in the door and pay your tuition and everything is a thing. I understand that. But usually by the 4th year, people get really interested in having extra lessons, because they found all sorts of cells in their organism that they think need to be brought up to a higher level. You come in, you're pretty good, and then the more you turn the microscope up on our functioning. I felt great about myself when I went into the training, and then after the first year, I was like crying all the time. I was like, no idea I was such a mess, So you just because we're trying to understand what's ideal organization, and we won't achieve it. Moshe said you need to know what the ideal is as a kind of a North Star. Means, where is it in the sky, so that I can have an orientation of where I'm directing myself. It's not, so this whole notion of perfection is we debunk it. But as we get more ideas about what a better organization might be, what's going on with us, it's interesting. Our self-use, for instance, that's always a big thing with people. how to work on self-use. It might be a little early for that. I don't know. I'm not saying anybody needs an extra lesson. I'm just saying you can have them, and you can ask people. Jenny, is there a set fee that all the assistants charge? Okay. Which in some cases is much less than what the practitioners charge, but at the same time, probably there's a range of what practitioners charge. So that's a second public announcement. Okay. This feels pretty empty. I don't know how I could start without Ella, really, but you know. Why don't you, I know. Why don't y'all, that's America, that's from the South, y'all. Why don't y'all come up front a little bit more? Come on, y'all. Let's fill in these empty spaces. Then we'll feel closer knit. What? Where is the screen going to be? Okay, that wall is going to be the screen. All right. Now, just delay a little bit more. Any questions forming? Oh, one person. Two. Ella, come on, girl. Bring your mat up front. I'm quite ready for that. I can't even see. Is it really Ella? I hope it's okay. I really can't see that well. I can't see, I can't hear, but I stumble along. What? What? Okay. Oh, that's why I didn't look like Ella, because I was looking at Amanda. That's why. I was right to doubt myself. I thought it doesn't look like morning. So I was saying, Ella, come on. Morning, Ella. How are you? I know, I understand that. Okay. And where's Joel? Joel's missing. See, I told you, Joel's missing. Let's see. Okay. Any questions that I'm not going to answer them, so that's pretty typical of Feldenkrais. Yeah. But have you read Case of Nora? There's a whole chapter, questions and avoiding answering them fully. Okay. So that's part of our legacy. But I would listen to the questions. I'd allow myself to be influenced by the questions. Yeah? Any questions? Is anything coming up for you, or you're just like getting into the segment, so to say? Anything you're wondering about? Good, a new voice. I like new voices.
Yesterday you were speaking about when...
Are you from across the pond?
Which pond?
Yeah, that's a good question. Which pond? All right, where are you from originally?
Sydney.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Yesterday you were speaking about taking what we're learning on the floor into the world, that we live. Is that a goal to do it 24/7, Is it attainable? And is it what we want?
Thank you. I reminded you. I did ask you to come back to your Joel. Oh, good. We can start now. Good. I know. No. We know. And Ray is here too. So the Barbara, I'm just in the men today, in case you can't tell. It's all about the men today. Well, I did ask you to stay with paying attention to the influence of the lessons longer. Yesterday, did anybody manage to work with that a little bit? Yeah. It's interesting that there was more there than what you could sense just at the end of a lesson. Yeah. Awareness and self-observation are a goal of the method, yes. They are a goal of the method. And that's what I said day one, that it's a very, very big method because some people reduce it down into, better movement. But Moshe didn't call his main book that he wrote Better Movement. He called it Awareness Through Movement. So he was using movement as the form to help us become aware. And I think now that we have the biography, although, it's a bit of a thing to get that biography over to Australia, but you know about the biography, don't you? So, well, it's 800 pages just to get him to 1950. And then volume 2 is being worked on. Actually, the last chapter, which I read when Mark was working with it, but I didn't read the final one, has a chapter on Jacoby, Gurdjieff, and I don't know I have to look at who the third one is, though. But those are all, people who worked with consciousness, so to say, awareness work, attention, all those. So Moshe had a lot of influences in his life to do what he did and to develop his work. And well, such a big question you asked, because I'll put it like this: in a certain way, all this work that we do to better organize ourselves and to get rid of parasitic effort in our thinking and our movement is to turn down the noise in the system so that we can find out what it is we want to do and go in that direction, what we want. So it is kind of the platitudes of, finding your avowed and unavowed dreams and doing it, and what fits your essence, as opposed to the conditioning that you received. And, God bless your parents. They gave you a lot, and they might have been magnificent. But I've seen a lot of times that there is a tendency for a mother and father to raise their child to cope with the life that the mother and father had. Or, to cope with all the challenges the mother and father had. So the mother and father go through the depression, and they teach you to be very careful with money, or, whatever it is. So, or another example is the mother, let's say Jung wrote about this, the mother's quite extroverted, and they raise you to be extroverted, but essentially you're an introvert. So it doesn't suit you. Whatever it is, we can find examples. Yeah, Hobart. Anka. I know what it is.
Good morning. I wanted to ask if when you experienced him in the training that you did with him, did you experience him as a personally inspiring person that was happy?
Was Moshe an inspiring person that was happy?
Yeah,
It would never occurred to me to use the word happy to talk about Moshe. It seems
I've thought
seems
about
like a very
word.
superficial word to me.
I know,
describe.
I can't find a better word, but.
Were you here when I said he was compelling? You might have missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But compelling can be personally frustrated, or someone that's.
He was always pointing to something bigger and deeper than what anybody was wanting for themselves. It wasn't like he was going to give you what you wanted for yourself. He was going to give you much more than you even knew how to ask for.
And that was
even if he was yelling at people, like you've seen him, if you look at the DVDs, and I don't want to go on and on about it, but it is interesting because I was with him, I suppose. When I watch the videos now, he's yelling all the time. He's old, he's tired, he's teaching 200 people, he's giving FIs at lunch, he's giving FIs after class, he's killing himself, literally. And at the same time, that's not at all, I was in that room, but that's not what I experienced. I experienced him as always talking to the part of oneself that is what we can become. And if I say what we can become, that's a search. Do you even know what you can become?
I guess what I'm interested in is his personal well-being, and if he was able to sustain himself with everything that he was doing, because I wonder if
read the biography. Get the biography, really, seriously. No, the thing is, your question is just too small. Yeah. And I don't know how to communicate to you that the question you're asking is too small for the person that he was.
Yeah.
And short of me spending the whole day telling you who he was, you need to read.
You found him compelling, that's it.
What?
Okay. You found him compelling, that's it. That's
well, no, I mean, okay. People have all sorts of ideas of what a healthy person should be, and you know, and could he sustain himself having green juices and not smoking and, you know, he didn't sleep much. He slept a few hours in the night. He was 77. He was teaching 200 people, and he was still making up new material every day that he'd never taught before. And he had a huge life. I mean, I think he put into his life 4 lifetimes of living, I think, and searching and questioning and studying and synthesizing. So you see, I don't know what you mean by well-being. It just sounds like a very small...
I guess it's like he's the teacher, and he's giving ideas, and these ideas are for general people to improve their lives. But I always have that question with great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi or something. Like, I always find it's interesting what that idea is based on in their own reality. So what their personal... So I have to read the autobiography. That's the only...
Because you see all the influences and all the questions, and even in the beginning, there's some beautiful stories that Mark brings to us. Mark Reese is the author. He was a friend of mine, and he's, you know, he was a great guy. But I mean, just some of the stories of his childhood and things that touched him as a young person, and, you know, different ways that he was searching and what he was up against and all of that. So some people say, oh, well, last time I was in Australia, somebody said, oh yeah, he was a real magpie, right? But I don't know, magpie. But he synthesized a lot of things. He stole a lot of things, but he also created. So where is it leading? Where do you want it to lead? You don't know. That's a great place to be. It's a great place to be. You and the other person who has a tolerance for the unknown. Because, you know, I was saying to somebody this morning that I was making a joke, but as I was walking up the pathway this morning, I was thinking, people want to improve as long as they don't have to change anything, right? And why, doesn't quite work like that, right? So I want to be in movement as long as I can stand in my spot. So you want to improve as long as you don't have to change anything. So if you have a tolerance for the unknown, then something new can come in, right? If you're all busy with what you know, and you know, that's why I've been stopping sometimes people saying a lot of stuff. They just, talking about things they already know, you know. So I'm not quite ready this morning to say what the point of the Feldenkrais method is. Come to my workshop, I'll figure something out then. I don't know. But I do know that even in this group, some of you will just make it all about movement and good movement as a hook, you know, and it's true that a lot of people come to us in our practice because they have pain, because they have neurological problems, because they have movement problems. There's very few people who come to us to work on awareness. But once they come to us, things begin to shift. Things begin to shift. And it's just that if you just make it into a movement system, then you've missed something. And yeah. And Moshe is going to do something very much on the theme of awareness with you in a few minutes. But yes. Tell me your name.
Pat.
Pat?
Yeah. I've said this before, in that a lot of the people that come to Feldenkrais are therapists, you know, and occupational therapists and stuff like that. I'm not.
Me neither. So there you go.
And
yeah,
I don't want to go into
therapy
and stuff like that.
So don't do it.
And I want to know, what does it mean for me?
Yeah,
you know.
That's right. Well, I was in theater. I'll just say briefly. Or is it too much talking about myself, or you want to know? Okay. I was in theater, and my question was, and I was teaching movement for actors, and I was teaching actors, and my question was, how is it that you can have one actor who goes on stage and is riveting, is compelling, and you want to watch that person? And even within, let's say, the student body of, you know, in a college, or your students that you're teaching, and somebody else, you don't want to watch them. It's not working. Well, in the first case, the first person has something we call presence. And the question is, can you train that? Because in the old days, there was this thought, and when in Moshe's time, there was this thought that you have talent or you don't have talent. And Moshe said, I can train it. You can get it through learning. And so I had that same question. Can you teach anybody to have presence on stage? And the other thing about being on stage is that the performer does something internally and externally such that the audience can have a certain kind of experience, transformation, if you like, or if you've read the Greeks, you know, catharsis, if you like, whatever it is, some kind of internal movement of the feelings of the people. And that's what I was interested in. So obviously it has nothing to do with physical therapy. And I think Moshe was doing that. He wasn't just bringing us ideas. He was bringing us much more than ideas through his being, through how he was organized internally in himself. And you'll be around him more. You'll see the way he works with people. You'll find it. You'll find it.
I'm much more interested in the awareness, like you said.
The awareness.
The awareness.
Yeah. Good. Well, you're going to be happy with what we're going to do next. Well, I don't know if you're going to be happy. What? Yeah, that superficial word. Happy. So much more to life than happiness, but you know.
It's a lot bigger word than what we see, isn't it?
What, the word happiness?
Awareness.
Awareness. It's a very big word. Like I said to Hobart, you know, I said to Anka, intention is these are very, very big words. And like any very big words or like any very big ideas, they're kaleidoscopic. They stay in movement. We think we come to a relationship and understanding, and then it learns, it grows, it moves. Okay, so I think I need to be quiet. Otherwise, I mean, I just want to make some space for Moshe to do his thing. So before we start, so we're going to do an ATM with Moshe that comes in the training and the Amherst training around the same time as this material that I'm started yesterday primarily. The first day was kind of like a workshop of this week, and then we got into the series more. And the name of the series is Head Through the Gap. That's a big surprise, isn't it? But don't put your head through the gap. But let me just ask you one more question, which is where said today would be the religious day. If you were going to pray for help, where do you need the help in your musculoskeletal system? Does anybody feel they could use some help in this Head Through the Gap series? Or you're golden? Where would you pray for help? Yeah, Glenn. In your shoulders, or just one, or both? One shoulder. Okay, you want to pray for help with one shoulder. You want more awareness. The neck, front of the throat, or the front of the neck? Your throat. Okay. Any other prayers?
Thoracic spine. Sure.
Which part? It's kind of long.
Where back of the rib cage. All through there.
Okay. Any other help you want to pray for? Sternum. Yeah. Okay, it's Greek to you until it becomes English. It's my accent probably that's making you not know what to do with it, but then, yeah, all right. Good. Okay, sternum, shoulders, lower back. Did she leave? I'm powerless without the tech people. Oh, are we good, Dan? All right. So this is a lesson Moshe taught in Amherst. It's called the prayer lesson. And so you're going to be praying, and you're going to need, how do you pray? Usually kneeling. So you'll need something soft under your knees besides the floor, and then we'll see if it works or not. I don't know. It's an interesting. It's part prayer lesson, part something else, and part anthropological, cross-cultural discussion of how we organize ourselves for our prayers to be answered in the cosmos. Well, he doesn't talk about, he doesn't actually talk about the cosmos. That's not part of his paradigm. But, so maybe awareness will come into that at some point. We'll see. Good. So you'll see. He'll entertain you for a while, and I'm going to go to the back of the room and pray for you.